is precisely about a withdrawal. My first attempt of withdrawal has been over almost 2 weeks now. But unfortunately, it's still telling me that it's pending review. I have tried so many times to text or chat with online help, but unfortunately, all I receive by or I get back is nothing but automated response with no definite time in sight of receiving or giving my refund or with my drawer. So I want to know what is the problem and why is my withdrawal still pending up to this point in time?
Okay, Ignatius, great question. Thank you very much for that question. How many times have you withdrawn in the past? Have you ever withdrawn before? You need to unmute, my friend. Is this your first withdrawal or have you ever withdrawn before?
I have never withdrawn. This is my first withdrawal.
Okay, so you are in that basket and they are manually giving the withdrawals, doing it on a manual basis because you can imagine how many withdrawal requests are in and they've got to go through them manually, and that's why everything is being reviewed. And of course, there is the priority first. So you'll be in that basket, that priority. I can't do anything for you personally, but I can just say to you that I have had an assurance that this basket of members, and how long have you been in it, Ignatius?
Since last year, September.
Okay, so you've been rebuying ever since from day one?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
yes, I have.
So you have a principal initial membership cost, and then you have a pending with rewards, and then you have withdrawals, which rewards which have built up, and now you want to start withdrawing some of your rewards. Yeah. So you're in that basket. Right. If you hear from the beginning, you're in that basket, which is the priority basket. Don't ask me when. I can't tell you exactly when your withdrawals will start to come through, but it was done manually. I haven't received a withdrawal since January. That's when my last ones were done, beginning of January, middle of January. And I've done quite a few, so there's quite a few stacked up. But again, as I said, I'm not a priority, Ignatius. You are, okay? So I can't give you an exact date, but I can just say to you that these members like you are ring fenced, okay? Can I have the next one? Sorry, my friend, okay? Good stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, you've got two devices on.
Okay, hold on.
No, you've muted the one.
Okay, there we go. There we go. So first of all, I just want to really thank you for putting this on and rallying the troops. It's like the State of a Union address, you know, so I certainly appreciate that.
I do know what the State of the Union address is. I'm not in, but I know how that goes.
So Ken, I believe I can speak for my husband and myself. We've picked the side the moment we decided to focus. So we are here. We're committed wherever you can use us. We thank you as well as our leader Brenda for just standing in the heat of things, because it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, I had a conversation with someone this morning, and I think one of the things, not only is hyper has been, I mean, if you're a networker, you have to know I always called it a networker's dream, right? Because it's been amazing. But I think one of the things that we've seen here is that when you have a bunch of newbies come into a space and they get rewarded handsomely and not knowing about this space, sometimes it can cause chaos. The veterans are fine. They've been here before. This is not the first time Bitcoin has been down and things in this market has been down. It reminds me of the real estate boom back in 2008. So what happens, you have to shake the trees, and a lot of people are going to get out of the industry because of it. But at the same time, as we stand here and we stand solid, and we stand on the shoulders like yourself and like Brenda, we can move forward. My question is, and I don't want to be lengthy, my question is this.
Sure.
You mentioned going over to Hypernation, and of course, we're going to follow, you know, one thing about, you know, leader, a good leader is also a good follower.
I love that. You're right.
We will follow you there, but here's the thing. We just want to get some clarity. There's looks like two different ways of earning rewards here. So
there's two boxes, the purple box and the legendary box.
Okay, now with that being said, the rewards that are pending right now, do we start all over going to hibernation, or do they transcend over to hibernation?
I just got that question because I've been doing Zoom calls back to back for the past 2 days. And yesterday I had 4 in a row. It took me 6 hours, 7, 8 hours just to get through all of my, because I've got different teams. So I had this yesterday 4 times. And so, yes, and I've had it confirmed today because it was one of the questions as well. Yes, assets and rewards will go across and to the new hypernation. And not everyone's going to come across. But yes, you're not going to start from scratch. I mean, of course, why would you take a box and then you got nothing? I mean, you just got names, just like people in. And of course, you know, I asked the question today because, you know, I didn't ask the first time round. And before I made my decision, I wanted to make sure I asked the question because nobody wants to say, well, what's the point in going across there when there's no value in whatever you bring across anyway? So it's just a logical thing. I asked to ask the question. Of course, yes, it was confirmed. Yes, it will go across.
Okay. Well,
Great question. Great question.
The second question is, when you does the pro node, when you is it when you purchase the purple or the platinum?
There's two boxes.
Yeah, 2 boxes after the yellow, right? The purple and the
Platinum.
Yeah. So which the purple is the 10,000. Is that a node or pro node?
Node.
Node. Okay. Now you mentioned that there will be a box to check to go to hibernation. Where do we find the box?
No, there's a link, and then after this call,
Okay.
Brenda will address everybody because I've spoken to
Okay.
Brenda, and then there are links like invitation codes should you wish to migrate and upgrade to either boxes, but it all based because you've got to put an invitation code in. So at the moment, what they're doing, Mary, is just as they did with the Supernode program and the Pro Node and the Node program, they're basically selling node positions. Brenda's experienced that because you became a node, that's right. And I think Marcus is one and a few of you guys on here. So it's not something that's alien to us. We've done it already. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're doing the same thing here now. Then comes the migration of your entire team if you buy a certain box or 10 levels. And as I said, in my opinion, 1 to 20 was always too generous a program for any company. So they've made the necessary changes. Now there will be, as I understand, Mary, I got it confirmed today, there'll be a limited period for you to be able to upgrade if you wish to from the purple to the platinum, but it's totally up to you. Again, this call here is not to, you know, sell you on anything. It's just to give you as much information as I've got, tell you where I stand, and I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. In actual fact, I'm moving forward. And whoever comes, comes. Who doesn't, doesn't. That's it, Mary.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
What's going on, everybody? I will.
Thank you very much for removing your cap. I feel absolutely honored.
Yeah. I gotta take my cap off. There are two very important factors here, and that is, many of us, and again, whether this is for everybody or not, I'm going to give it anyway. Some of us nodes who are on this call have already had sit downs with corporate, and you really weren't specific on who you sat with, because my concern is trying to figure out who you're aligned with and who we're aligned with. Are we aligned with the same teams in reference to who we speak with at corporate? And the reason that's important, Keith, is because you've given us for the last hour a lot of you, but you didn't give us a lot based on what we need for hyper and this hibernation. And that's a problem for me because my mind is, I've given blood, sweat, and tears to this, but most importantly, I've given belief to this. So it's not about money. This is about belief in having something for all of us. That's all I came into this for. I was never here for money. Now in this transition, we've gotten two sides. I've gotten a side from Gene Agnes, and Ro. Those are 3 community leaders, and I think Jean is over them. Jean actually does some of these corporate overviews for the Hyper Nation, okay? The 3 of them consistently have said things to me that I will not share on this slide that concern me. Now, you've met with someone, and my feeling is you have this warm and fuzzy that I don't have. And I need to know who you talk to so that we can have that same warm and fuzzy to pass on to this team. We've got 600 people on this line who are leading in this field, looking to build, looking not to be swayed. But I cannot give them a false hope in moving into a direction that I feel gray and hazy in. So the conversion, let's talk about that. We now have Hyper Nation, where they opened up the 10,000 and the 100,000 to all members to participate. The lady who just talked doesn't even apply to her. Doesn't apply to her. The whole point of that is now new USD volume going in. Where again, what you talked about earlier, when you said, okay, as a company, you need some coming in and going out. We know that. But here's the separation. I was specifically told from those 3 that the nation did not concern with the verse. That's what I was told.
What do you mean by that? Just explain that. What do you mean did not concern?
I will explain it in detail.
Okay.
They said Hyper Nation was not concerned with paying out members in hyperverse. So I then said, well, if that's the case, why would I, as a node, take on a $100,000 USDT position with you? Give that to you in the nation, a nation that does not need money. They had new investors come in the nation. Clearly, we know that, Keith. Why? Because they took $1 million billboard in Madison Square Garden, where I live.
Oh, really? Was it Madison Square Garden as well? Wow.
That's right.
I didn't know that.
That's right.
Okay.
Huge. Now, clearly, they don't need money. So this is not about money anymore, Keith. So now let's talk about what an investor is. An investor is one who puts in. Now they don't want anything to do with the verse. They don't want the debt of the verse. This is what we were told. I have 7 other nodes who were told the same thing I was told. They don't want the debt of the verse. So now you want me to now put in 24 million into the nation. How do the people who get the one time, forget the leaders, the one-timers, how do they get it? How do they get it if you don't want anything to do with it? And
Marcus,
that's where I'm conflicted.
Marcus, I don't understand when you say they don't want anything to do with it. It's one company. It's one company. It is
not one company, Keith. Let's be clear.
No. When I say
Hibernation.
one company, let's be honest, Marcus. How many owners are there? You said there's separate owners of Hibernation, separate owners of Hyperverse. I'm not sure if that's what you're alluding to. We're talking about the same people behind the same company, yes? And the company is one big entity where you've got Hyperverse and Hibernation, which is a new entity within the same setup. Let's be honest, it's not going to be, if you know that, then wow, you know more than me, because I don't know that even now, and you're telling me that you know.
Yes, this is what they've given us. So Hibernation is here. They have investors for Hibernation. Hibernation is separate from Hyperverse. That's what they've told us, Keith. I'm not, trust me, I don't speak unless I know what I'm speaking about.
All right, Marcus. Okay, the point that you're making is you've got Hibernation and you've got Hyperverse. And Hyperverse is going to be consolidated. Are you saying that then?
How are they going to get? My point is, Keith, how is the money going to go from the nation and pay the one-times people in the verse if the nation doesn't want to be attached to the verse?
But Marcus, they already are still paying out in the verse. Withdrawals are still taking place. Now, let me get rid of this. I'll say this to you now, Marcus. Withdrawals are still taking place. Now, I can't say when everything will be righted as far as the one time is concerned. But
Okay.
I get everyday daily withdrawal amounts from the Tron scan, and they've been doing. I've been getting it for the last 3 to 4 weeks. Every day they have been paying out, and I've seen even individuals messaging me, "Yippee, I've got my withdrawal through." And Marcus, if your only concern is this possible? Can they get out of this? Well, that's going to be something that you have to make a decision on. I feel that this is the only hope that I'm going to hang on to, that they will get this right, because the bottom line is that if they don't fix the old problem of the one times, let's not talk about leaders. If they don't fix that, then there is a big problem for them. Would you agree?
I do. I agree with you 100%.
I don't think that Ryan Zhu and Sam Lee will just all of a sudden become Mr. Invisible and disappear. And let's be honest, they're the ones who are going to be right up in the firing line. I'm sure they're hanging on to their liberty right now because they understand that there's a massive responsibility. So Marcus, aside from that, because you seem to think that this hyperverse is not going to be able to get out of its situation, I know one thing for sure, that the liability, the total liability is much bigger, huge outside of the one times, much bigger. And that's because a lot of leaders, from expert all the way up to VIP5, and individuals who've been able to sit on top of nice teams that haven't ranked up, has got more out than they've put in. And we're not talking about 100 or 500 or 1,000. There's already 450 VIP 5-stars, 450. So all I'm saying to you is that if they've got a plan going forward, that plan does not mean that they're crashing and completely destroying hyperverse, hypercumulacy. It will consolidate and it will change, but there is a responsibility and a liability, a minimum liability on that side. And I'm trusting that these guys will get that right. But I'm not going to sit back and do nothing or say I'm out until they get everything right. Because I can't afford to do that, because the community needs leadership. And without leadership, we go nowhere. That's it, done.
Right. And again, we will never argue on that. I agree with you.
No, not at all.
We will never argue on that. I think the biggest picture now is just clarity. We specifically asked for answers, and the response back to me was, we've submitted it. Now, no response. We've submitted it. And I've gotten that for the last 2 months. Last 2 months, it's been submitted. Last 2 months, it's been submitted. And so the problem is, that's why I said, I don't know who you were dealing with or who we were dealing with. The reason why I want to know what that connection is so that we can all be on the same page. We have committed to this platform. But if we're on different pages as leaders, it makes it difficult. We got to be on one page.
And the one page is this, Marcus, okay? They are yet to give us the full details of HyperNation. We only have a direct sales plan for the node. It's a direct sales, 3-tier direct sales, and it's open to anybody that wants to become a node or pro node. Whereas before it was under selection, you were selected by a pro node or a super node. So this time they say, no. We know what that caused the problems, because individuals became nodes that should never have been even anywhere near the node situation. So you can't have, someone saying, oh, I've got 5 mates, I want them to become nodes, and they're only like professionals and 1-star. So we know that that doesn't work. So that's their program there. They have said, and they've assured me that hyperverse will not be allowed to crash. Now, and they said also, Marcus, that they are ring fencing as a priority individuals who are yet to receive 1 times. And I've been saying this to them for the last 8 to 10 months before we even became hyperverse. You know why? Because I understand the importance of actually, if individuals get 1 times, forget the 4 times, but get at least 1 times, then if they don't get 3 or 4 times as per the promise, it's only a promise is pending, then at least they can't go and say, I did not get my product, I did not get the service as promised, i.e. the 4 times. We're only talking about the rewards. They might have got the education, they might have got everything else, but the 4 times. All I'm saying is that they are well aware of this, Marcus. And I've got to say to myself, well, if they understand all of that, do I then say, well, let me continue to wait as a leader without making a decision? I can't be one of these individuals. I never have done that. I told you when I signed up, it was the unknown. It was the only thing, Sam Ryan, background, blockchain, blockchain global, next blockchain. Wow, great. That's all I had to go on, and a plan that looked pretty good. And as I said, along the way, I and a few others appointed compliance. We appointed compliance. Yeah. We paid for compliance out of our own pocket for 12 months. Not many people know that. We we paid her salary for 12 months. I got the company to appoint James as our legal counsel because I know how important it is to have a legal counsel in this type of business. And you've heard his videos. He made sure very clearly that what we have here is a very good business model. Would you agree? Gave me comfort at night to know that you got somebody independent, officially appointed by the company. It took me 3 weeks to get him appointed because I know how good he was. So now, fast forward, we're in June of 2022. We know how difficult things are out there. But what I do know is that these guys are not prepared to shut shop. And knowing that, without knowing everything, Marcus, is enough for me to say, do I stick or do I twist? That's the bottom line, my brother. You can, I mean, as I said, I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just letting you know that I'm in. This is the chicken and the hog thing situation, bacon and eggs. I'm all in, brother. I'm not participating with a few eggs. I'm in. That's it, done. Right. So I'm just saying, you basically summarized everything, and we're both on the same page, and we're both passionate about the community. I would not still be here doing calls right across the community if I didn't believe that there's a chance for the individuals who are currently in to not just survive and not be made whole, but also maybe have the opportunity to get something back out of it. That's why I'm still here. And as I said, it's not about me and the leaders. We all have to have what we call asset negotiation, Marcus. Yeah, that they've made, I mean, I wrote it down. So I understand what that means as well. Let's say you're owed $1 million. They'll have an asset negotiation with you. Let's say I'm owed 30 million. Not saying that I am, but let's say I am. They have to have asset negotiation with me and maybe give me a token and stick me on a smart contract. It's just logical. But what I won't do is delay, do nothing. And then who knows where we're going to be, because you have to at some point say in or out. I'm in or out. Thanks, Marcus.